Believe it or not, we are just one sleep away from FNCS Grand Finals, potentially one of the most entertaining FNCSs we have ever seen. And in today's video, I wanted to finally give my official FNCS Grand Finals predictions for this season. Real quick to you stars though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Remember, make sure you guys either come back here tomorrow on the day of Grand Finals for NA, or follow me on my Twitch if you guys want to watch FNCS Grands with me. Without further ado though, we got a lot of predictions to make, so let's get this video started. Alright, so we're gonna start off over here on NA, and now, as you can already see, we do have some very big trios contested. I think the main fights that we have to look out for this weekend is going to be the fight down here between Adris, Acorn, and Poyo, and Naps, Cyrus, and Zaire. And let me just put this out here first things first. If Poyo's trio is going to end up somehow being fully uncontested, like if this team is just baiting, which it doesn't seem like they are, they have been landing here the entire season, but have yet to make a finals, which is why you might be like, oh, I haven't seen them fight Poyo off spawn the entire season. But according to Peterbot himself, he thinks they are a very solid trio, and he even thinks that they're going to go 6-6 with Poyo off spawn. I just first off have to disagree with that. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Adris, Acorn, and Poyo showed us that they are probably the best off spawn fighting team at Demon's Domain in the entire world. And I think even if they do get contested by Naps' trio right here, the nerves have to get to them to a certain extent. I think this is only like their third ever FNCS Grand Finals, and they're literally going against a trio that's been fighting Peterbot off spawn for the entire season. But going back to originally what I was trying to say, if Poyo's trio was going to be uncontested in this Grand Finals, they were going to be my FNCS winning prediction. But as you will see when we go over my predictions in a little bit, things have changed. The other big name fight that we have is like Sphinx, Shadow, and Muzz versus Skittles, Dash, and Bryce. This is just really an unfortunate fight all around because they are most likely going to be fighting each other at the resistance base, splitting the loot. There is no way either of them are going to be able to qualify for globals. Do I think either of those teams will be able to qualify for globals fighting though? You have to wait and find out. And then the last big one that we have is Liam, Zavi, and Neko versus Curve, Josh, and Tyler versus Aiden, Carillion, and Hound. Now I think the main thing that I want to point out here is Curve, Josh, and Tyler have officially left the off spawn fight between Aviv, G Money, and Rise down here to now triple contest the first order base. I think the current rumor that is going around is that Tyler's parents just don't want him to contest Aviv off spawn because of all the drama that has been going on there. So unfortunately they're leaving a single contested outpost enclave to go in triple contest. Let's start off with my top 10 predictions though, and the team that I'm going to put in my 10th place spot might come as a surprise to some of you guys, but I feel like people are really underrating the trio of Seneto, Cam, and Ocid. They have a fully uncontested pump power. They placed 7th place in the most recent Div Cup finals. They're able to win a game in their most recent group. Am I maybe shooting a little bit high for this trio? Potentially. The two teams that I was like kind of debating on putting in my 10th place spot was either the team of Takiyeshu and Vert right here, or Cam, Seneto, and Ocid. I think both of these teams are just like fringe top 10 teams, but I am going to go with the trio of Seneto, Cam, and Ocid. For my 9th place spot, this is where I'm going to put the team of Aviv, G Money, in Rise. Now they do now have a fully uncontested outpost enclave. They looked very good in the group stages when they had this POI completely uncontested. I just feel like I don't personally know enough about this trio being uncontested this season, as we really have not got to see it that much at all. I think this is a trio that their ceiling is probably like a top 6 in Grand Finals, but I feel like for me personally, I just have to predict them in 9th place. I feel like all of these trios from my 10 to my 7th place spot are some of the just biggest potential swing teams on here, because in 8th place I'm gonna go with the trio of Phaser, King, and PH Zen. The trio that has just recently came down from Brazil to NA to get some extra practice. They looked amazing in the group stage that they played in. They were able to win a game in the last Eval Cup of the season. They have a fully uncontested Lone Wolf Flare. They look like they have fully adapted to the NA Surge trading meta as well. I've seen them trade with many of these different teams around them, and especially since so many people around them are uncontested as well, it just gives them even more chances to be able to surge trade with the teams around them. I've seen some people really high on this trio going into Grand Finals, and I definitely want to see these guys do good, but I don't even feel like necessarily me predicting them in 8th place is like a bad spot for them either. Now in 7th place, I'm gonna go with one of the trios that has been kind of more on that disappointing downward slope as of late, but it is the trio that placed 3rd place in last Grand Finals of Reet, Cooper, and Curly. Now, for how much everybody has been doubting them, it seems like Reet especially is still so high on this trio, and he still thinks that they can do really well in this grand finals, which I honestly don't fully disagree with either. I think they still have the potential to be a top 5 trio in this grand finals. They tried to like very lately contest resistance base to try to get it uncontested for globals, but then they realized that that spot's going to be triple contested. They might just go back to flooded frogs right here. I think this is a really good grand finals for them to potentially beat the zone merchant allegations that they got thrown on them last season, but I am going to predict them in 7th place. Now 6th place, I have my first trio to be able to qualify for LAN. I have the team of Bugha, Threats, and Craze. And this team arguably should have been able to qualify for LAN last season, or I guess technically with Rapid instead of Craze, but I've heard things that Bugha might be on 0 ping right now. Can't say how true that is. They're a trio that we know is going to be able to surge trade as much as possible. They have a off spawn fight right under them as well, with Smiley's trio versus Broken's trio if they want to potentially run in their third party, try to clean that up. And we just cannot have a LAN event without Bugha in it, so I am going to be predicting them to be able to make LAN and finish in 6th place this grand finals. Now my trio in 5th place, I don't even know if I can necessarily say this is a bold take or not, but I am going to go with Visuals, Braids, and Aminished. I feel like so many people are doubting this trio. They haven't necessarily looked the best in the recent tournaments that they have played. What my prediction is mainly going off of is how good they have looked in scrims and the trios that they have around them that they can trade with. Last season, everybody was super worried when Peterbot was landing right here and then Visuals was still landing right here. Everybody was saying like, oh, Peter's gonna key them every single game. That was not what happened. They ended up just being able to trade with them every single game, and now they're going to get to trade with Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts and Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual once again. And if they even want to, they can probably trade with Bugha as well. They have so many good neighbors around them that are willing to trade, that want to place highly this season. And this trio quite literally just got 4th place in last FNCS Grand Finals. I think this is definitely a trio that is in contention for being one of the biggest potential regression teams this season. What I mean by that is they finished in 4th place last season. I wouldn't be surprised either if they finished in like 8th or 9th this season, but I have been a constant believer in this trio throughout this season. I haven't given up on them yet, and I am going to predict them to finish in 5th place. Now the trio right next to them is the team I am predicting for 4th place and my other LAN team on NA of Rapid, Kanata, and Bolts. Now this is a trio that in season 1 I actually predicted them to finish in 2nd place, and I think they finished in like 6th or 7th. I think they have shown that they are pretty much undeniably the 4th best team on all of NA just from this season alone. I love their fragging ability. I love their ability to be able to potentially win games in this grand finals from being just such a good high ground team. This is a trio that I think can finish as high up as like a 2nd place in grand finals, and if they're able to win this grands, I think that would be one of the more impressive grand finals wins as of late. They have an uncontested Crime City, which I have been saying for the past couple of weeks, I feel like is one of the most underrated drop spots in the game. You should see the loot that this team is getting pretty much every single game consistently. Like I said earlier, they have so many teams around them that they can potentially trade with as well. They are in such a good spot for pulling off their best ever placement together as a trio. I feel like more people have been talking about this team as a potential to win this FNCS instead of just a potential LAN team. This is probably the trio that everybody is going to say is a lock to qualify for LAN on NA, and I have to just 100% agree with that. And this is also one of the trios for this weekend that I am most excited to watch. All right, let's move on to my top 3 now, and the trio that I have in 3rd place is Agers, Acorn, and Poyo. Now, like I said in the intro, if this team is going to be fully uncontested, or even if they end up like 4-0ing the first 4 games, and then Cyrus's trio just ends up leaving, this is the team that I want to predict to win this FNCS Grand Finals. To me, they've looked like the best team in the world this entire season. They won a Div Cup while being contested off spawn by Peterbot, and in that Div Cup, by the way, they ended up winning 5-1 off spawn. They basically alphaed one of the best PYs on the map from one of the best off spawn fighting players ever in Peterbot. If I had to predict an off spawn score for this fight right here, I think I am leaning towards maybe like a 9-3 in favor of Poyo's trio. Cyrus's trio did win 3-0 off spawn versus the trio they actually fought off spawn there in the last chance qualifiers. So I don't think this team is going to get like 12-0'd by Poyo or nothing like that. But I also do just pretty much have to agree that they are just the better off spawn fighting team. I also wouldn't be mad if you wanted to predict somebody like Kanata over Poyo's trio. Just based on what I have seen though, I think Poyo's trio still has the potential to be able to top 3 in grand finals while being contested off spawn, and they are going to be probably far and away the highest team I have predicted that is actually contested. Let's move on to my top 2 now, and in second place I'm gonna go with the trio of Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs. They placed second place in both Div Cups this season, have only won 2 Eval Cup games this entire season as well. It seems like the number 2 is just destined for this trio right now, and I think especially since they haven't been getting the Spire as consistently recently because of Peterbot's trio, I think their loot has taken a bit of a hit, and I am going to predict this trio to go back-to-back seasons of getting second place in Grand Finals. My trio in first place is going to be Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. In a span of basically a week, they went from a team that a lot of people were predicting to maybe finish like top 15 in Grand Finals. Everybody was saying they were going to get smoked off spawn by Poyo's trio, including myself, to them now being, especially with Poyo contested now, probably the favorites in this Grands. They have pretty much infinite surge possibilities from brutal boxcars, amazing loot with the Spire as well, and I think at the end of the day, their fragging potential is just going to be higher than a trio like Clix, Iamzo, and Higgs. And I think even though Clix's trio can place more consistently than Peter's trio is always just going to get more elims, and elims add up, especially in a grand finals. And I am going to predict back-to-back FNCS wins for Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, and I do believe that Peterbot will now win his 6th ever FNCS, tying him for the most FNCS wins in Fortnite history. You know what? I'm honestly not too mad about these NA predictions right here. Let me know what you guys disagree with in the comment section down below, and let's actually move on to EU now, which I feel like was a lot harder for me to predict. Alright, now in EU, I've already seen so many different trios like Bait tweet that they're landing somewhere else, but for my trio in 10th place, I'm gonna go with the team of Contri, Perdage, and Finnick. Now they have an uncontested pump power, a bunch of teams around them that they can potentially trade Surge with. I really do like this team, and I was very close, like this close to predicting them to be able to qualify for globals. But when I actually show you guys my 4 global teams on EU for this season, you will see why I didn't end up predicting them. Oh yeah, let's also talk about the big off spawn fights we have. We definitely have a lot more on EU. Rex Belusi and Zangi versus iDrop Hari and Cammy. I would not be surprised though if Cammy tries to somehow split this drop spot right here. Loki, Sangyod, and QB versus Helkis, Ilusha, and Velry. We have Clown, Gabix, and Waze versus Sato's trio. Video Cringe and Volko might end up fighting this team right here, but they're trying to make their own split down here, so I guess we're just gonna have to see how that goes for them. Focus, Mixon, and Upple are now conning Pura Hawa down here, and then we have like Wheaton and Frizzy and Sined versus Robin, Kylie, and Timu. All right, now my 8th place pick, it might be a little bit biased, but hey, what are you gonna do at the end of the day? I'm going with the trio of Mr. Savage, Chap, and Rezon. Now, what am I basing this off of right here? I honestly did think long and hard about this prediction right here, but at the end of the day, you can't always use your brain. Sometimes you gotta go with your heart, and this is going to be my first trio that I'm actually going to say is going to be able to qualify for LAN. We literally saw Mr. Savage in season 1 get 8th place in a grand finals with Mongrel and Panzer. Somehow these stars have aligned for them. They now have a fully uncontested resistance base. They're going to be able to trade Surge with a couple of the teams around them. And hey, I'm gonna be rooting for this team no matter what in this grand finals, because I feel like LAN is just going to be so much more entertaining if they're able to make it. So I was already going to be rooting for them to be able to make LAN, so why not just put all my eggs in the Mr. Savage basket and predict them to be able to qualify for LAN as well. Now my trio in 7th place is another team that I have making LAN of Akira, Kurama, and Wurex. The French trio, I think they will probably be the only French representation we have at this year's globals, which is just absolutely insane to say. But they've gotten 2nd place in a Div Cup. They've won games in an Eval Cup. They are, I'm pretty sure, a double controller trio as well. They also have trios that they're going to be able to trade Surge with around them. They have a potential third-party opportunity under them at the bridge split as well. This is the team I'm going to go with for my 7th place spot. Sixth place, I'm gonna go with the trio that has an uncontested Crime City of Chris, Tayson, and Chicho. They placed 7th last season while pretty much only getting to play like 8 total end games out. You could make the argument that they were more locked in grinding last season, but at the exact same time, what do you really need to be grinding for this season when the entire meta is just surge trading and they have a bunch of teams around them that they can surge trade with? And then Tayson and Chicho are some of the most experienced players in this game. I feel like they will be just fine once they're able to make it into the end games. Moving on to my top 5 now, the trio that I have in exactly 5th place is Seti, Yapko, and Panzer. I have been so high on this trio for the entire season. This is also my 3rd team that I'm predicting to be able to secure a land spot on EU. I love their consistency potential. I love the position that they are in on the map to be able to trade with teams around them. And I also just love the name value that they come with as well. Panzer was one of the best players in all of Season 1 Grands. Seti is one of the greatest players of all time. And then Yapko was a tier 1 player when he moved on NA. And he is finally back on EU now competing in FNCS. And believe it or not, this is going to be Yapko's first FNCS Grand Finals on EU this chapter. I think this trio has a very high ceiling in this Grand Finals. Now moving on to my top 4, the trio I have in 4th place, I'm gonna go with my last team to be able to book their ticket to France of Pink Nebs and Kiro. I've pretty much been talking highly about them all season long, saying that this team is basically guaranteed to qualify for LAN. They're going to be my first pick out of the non-LAN teams to be able to make it there. But I have to admit, this is probably one of the teams that I have higher up that I am the least confident in to place 4th place in Grand Finals, especially on EU. That just seems so high. They're a trio that is going to be super consistent. I've heard them get comparisons to like how Cammy and Seti were a very consistent team, but not going to be able to get the most elims, which I do kind of have to agree with. I think this trio is going to be getting pretty consistent, like anywhere between like 5 elimination 4ths or even like 3 elimination 6ths. That is the only reason why I'm a little bit iffy on predicting them as high as 4th place. But hey, you got to take risks sometimes. Pink did kind of disappoint in the last Grand Finals, and I'm hoping he is able to step up his game. They all seem to be full grinding, and I am very excited to see what they can do in this Grand Finals. Moving on to my top 3 now, the trio that I have in 3rd place, I am gonna go with Vico, Vino, and Flixie from a fully uncontested Brutal Boxcars. They had a very rough week 1 in the divisional cups where I think they finished like 12th place fully uncontested. I think that was a good reality check for them, and then the very next week they're able to get 2nd place in the Div Cup finals. You can pretty much say all of the exact same things for this trio as you would say for somebody like Peterbot's team. Have infinite surge trading possibilities around them, are probably the best fighting team on all of EU. I would not be surprised if this was our FNCS winners for this season, but the 2 trios that I am going to predict above them are just based on the performances that I have seen from them this season. And my 2nd place pick in this Grand Finals, I'm predicting them to get back-to-back 2nd places, is Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy at an uncontested Supernova Academy. This trio won the last Div Cup of the season, had a little bit of a rough showing in their actual group stage, but I think it was a very good reality check for them. I think this team has the potential to be like the 2nd or the 3rd best fighting team on all of EU. I would not be surprised at all if they finished with either the 2nd or even the most elims in this entire Grand Finals. Last season, there really wasn't much pressure on them going into that FNCS Grands, and they ended up surprising a lot of people, literally finishing in 2nd place. So I'm wondering how they're going to perform with a bit more pressure on them now. But this is a team that I have been so high on for the entire season. I have to predict them highly, and I'm gonna go with them to finish in 2nd place. And now for my team in 1st place, you might say it's a little bit of a safe prediction, but I'm gonna go with back-to-back FNCS wins for the trio of Venya, Pixie, and Marius, fully uncontested Flooded Frogs. Their main competition to potentially fight them on high ground is going to be Queasy's team. Pixie is playing like a top 3 player in the world. There is no reason why this trio can't win back-to-back FNCSs, and that is why I am going to predict them to win yet another FNCS Grand Finals. And literally as I end my recording for EU, just my luck, we got the news that Malibuca, Ping, and Walks are now going to be leaving Demon's Domain after getting 6-0'd in pro scrims today. So that officially means that Queasy, Swizzy, and Murstache are now fully uncontested at Demon's Domain down here. Literally for my predictions, I think I just throw them in my 4th place spot. This is 100% a team that can win grand finals. I wouldn't be surprised if they win grand finals, but I haven't got to see these guys be fully uncontested at Demon's Domain in like any set lobby finals this season. I legit have no clue how this EU Grands is going to go now. I mean, I think I maybe just stick with these predictions right here, but the entire top 4 is pretty much shaken up. I think one of the teams that this helps the most though is definitely Mr. Savage, Shap, and Rezon, because now they can pretty much place, if the leaderboard looks like this, which I think there is a real chance it looks like this, Mr. Savage's trio can place as low as 9th place and still be able to make land this season. So this definitely helps them out a lot. But I'm not gonna lie, my entire top 4 on EU is pretty much just cooked at this point. We have to remember though, at the same time, last season Queasy's trio did have an uncontested Seaport City, and they were pretty much like the heavy favorites going into that Grands. And then I think they finished in like 5th place. So I think just based on what we have seen this season, I feel like it's kind of fair to put them in 4th, but at the same time, now they literally have an infinite shield coin, a mythic AR, fully uncon, 12 out of 12 games, one of the best teams in the world, 3 of the best players in the world too. I just have no clue right now. Other than that though, let me know which predictions you guys agree and disagree with in the comment section down below. Let me know your guys' own list in the comments as well. Very excited to see what you guys are actually predicting. And at the end of the day, this is all just for some fun, so don't take nothing I'm saying like too seriously. Remember, come back here on the day of grand finals for NA if you want to watch FNCS Grands with me. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we're also going to be updating you guys on just everything that happens this weekend as well. Please just go K-Dog in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. YouTube says enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. The next video I'm going to be making is FNCS Grand Finals already. Doesn't even sound real, but I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.